I have very conflicting feelings about this game because I love it, but I have things to say about it that aren't particularly appetizing to new players. Cult of the Lamb is a hybrid town builder slash roguelike game wherein you build a town, or a cult, literally, and go out and play Baby Binding of Isaac. Overall, I want to say that this is a good game, because it is, but there are so many things holding it back. You start the game as a little lamb being sacrificed to these gods. Whatever, the story isn't really important. You get resurrected as an acolyte of this god named Narinder, or the one who waits. Immediately you're given control to the roguelike part of this game, so I'll talk about that gameplay first. The roguelike gameplay is extremely bare bones, with very fun physical gameplay, but I mean that by saying there's only like 5 main weapons you can ever use, and 5 different types of curses, also known as magic, that are ever available. Each time you go on a crusade, you are given a weapon and a curse at random. These weapons vary from swords, daggers, axes, hammers, and claws, and you're also given a curse, which vary from fireballs, tentacles, blasts, splatters, and slashes. As you progress through the game, you're given more varieties of these weapons, but never anything new. It's always the same types of weapons, just with different skins and effects tacked on. As you might be able to tell, swords are your run-of-the-mill, all-around weapons that are generally always good, daggers are extremely fast, low-damage, short-range weapons, axes are slow and heavy-hitting, hammers are slower and even heavier hitting, and claws are combo weapons, with combo in quotes. Those are the only weapons you ever get throughout your entire playthrough. You can, however, earn upgrades to weapons to spawn different varieties of them. Same can be said with curses. Curses are a lot more varied and unique than the weapons, but ultimately they are all the same with different skins. There's also tarot cards, which are effectively your items. These things basically just invisibly change your stats and don't really do much to affect gameplay. They make you stronger, but they don't really make you feel stronger. These upgrades you get for crusades tie into the other half of the gameplay, which is town building. And I'll be totally real, there's way more base building in the game than anything else. The game is advertised as a 50-50 dungeon crawling and town building game, but it feels more like 35-65. That's not really a feeling, it's just what it is. The game itself at one point tells you that your followers are resources, not your friends. Not neighbors that you take care of, because they're there to be used at your disposal, literally. You can sacrifice them, kill them, force them to eat poop, but then they also want you to take care of them. You're a benevolent leader that has to literally pick up after your followers, take care of them when they're sick and whatever else. Crusades are used to gather resources for your followers and even gain more followers. And this is where the gameplay becomes stale. The fact that crusades are used to gather resources more than actually progressing the game. Progress to the end of the game happens as an aside to the actual gameplay, which is taking care of babies. It really feels that there is no reason to grow in crusades after you complete the required number. But there are a number of other things you can do outside of crusades as well. There are multiple areas for you to explore, all of which are discovered randomly while on crusades. But don't worry, they're guaranteed to be found. Ranging from not much really. There are mini games and things to buy in these areas, but they eventually all run their course. They all feature a key NPC that give you quests for rewards. These are only substantial quests given other than the main one that requires you to do something significant in a crusade. These NPCs all give one of the most significant rewards in the game. I forgot what they're called, and I'm not going to bother to Google what they are because I'm writing this part of the script on my phone and I'm doing extra work on my phone. It's just so much more work and I don't want to do that. But anyways, all of these characters give a whole emblem worth of emblems, and you can use these emblems to purchase new fleeces. These fleeces are used to significantly, however not significantly enough, to change the gameplay of crusades. Honestly, most of them are dog shit, and the only one worth taking, in my opinion, is Fleece of the Glass Cannon. And after these quests, these NPCs literally lose everything interesting about them, and then you're unable to speak to them ever again. With the exception of Sozu, I mean, you can't talk to him anymore, but he literally dies and his corpse starts growing mushrooms. It's fucking awesome. But the fisherman, he sells you fish, and you're always able to catch. There's literally no reason to even need to buy from him, because you're going to have an abundance of resources at almost all times. There's no point. There's literally no point. So now it's the next day as I write this new paragraph, and I feel like I've completely lost track of where I was. So where was I? I think that the gameplay really wears thin once you just finish what you're told to do. You get quests, you complete them, and that's it. There's no gameplay loop that holds itself to replayability like other roguelikes, like Isaac or Gungeon. The thing that makes those games so replayable is the massive amount of content that those games have that you have a random chance to find in each of your runs. The amount of things you have to find in Cult of the Lamb is so minuscule compared to these other games. You can't unlock things that significantly change gameplay, plus it's all unlocked in a completely different part of the gameplay. In fact, I'd argue that a majority of the gameplay completely centers around the church building, period. You use the church building to do sermons. You gain devotion and loyalty from these, you upgrade your crown, which is basically what the crusade upgrades are, you enact doctrines, which are just earning new rituals and passive traits for your followers, and you have the ability to look at what you've unlocked. And that's the entire gameplay loop for about 3 hours. It's literally nothing else after this. You fight the final boss and you're done. I know I'm complaining a lot about this game, but the bulk of it is genuinely really fun to play. The combat in Crusades feels good, albeit extremely simple. The bosses are fun sometimes. I really think that this game has amazing art direction. I get goosebumps every single time I boot up the game. The followers are adorable. They're all just bug-eyed smiley faces plastered on the side of a random animal head. They basically have noses on the side of their head. It's adorable and funny. Ultimately, it's not a bad game. It's just missing a shitload of content. Hopefully the free DLC that Massive Monster promised delivers.